Welcome to this week's Torah lesson. This week's Torah portion is Parsha Tzav. The question of the week is, why must Moshiach reveal himself right now? So in this week's Torah portion, Parsha Tzav, the Torah portion begins, Vayidaber Hashem al Moshe Leimer, God speaks to Moshe Rabbeinu saying, and then it says, Tzav es Aaron v'esbonav Leimer, command Aaron and his sons, saying. So Rashi right away asks a simple question. God is speaking to Moshe Rabbeinu to instruct Aaron. Tzav is a very, very strong expression. Why does the Torah use such a strong expression as tzav? So Rashi says the reason why it says tzav with such a strong expression, because since it's dealing with Aaron that to serve in the temple, so he was using an expression of zerizus to motivate him and inspire him to do it quickly. Quickly, in the times of the temple then, but also in the future when Moshiach comes, he should do the work and he should do it in a way of zerizus with alacrity. So the Rebbe says that we know that Magid Varav Yaakov, everything that Hashem tells the Bnei Yisrael to do, Hashem himself does. So if Hashem is telling Aaron to do it quickly, we need the Beis HaMikdash. In order to have the Beis HaMikdash, Hashem has to bring the Beis HaMikdash. So therefore the Rebbe says Hashem should bring the Beis HaMikdash quickly. Now the Rebbe says, you're going to say, okay, but perhaps we all know that the Beis HaMikdash, the general Beis HaMikdash, we all have the Beis HaMikdash on a spiritual level. Every single part of our body represents a different aspect in the Beis HaMikdash. Referring to here the sacrifices, what is the sacrifices, the Mizbeach, in our spiritual psyche? So that is our leiv, our heart, that is the spiritual Beis HaMikdash. That's where we cry, that's where we beseech Hashem from our heart. Just like the Mizbeach is the deepest connection to Hashem, where people offer sacrifices. So the leiv, our heart, that's the relationship we have, which is the spiritual Mizbeach within us to Hashem. And the Rebbe says the avodah of every single person pouring their heart out to Hashem, connecting to Hashem through the heart, is something which we all accomplish completely. So if we accomplish it spiritually, so therefore there's no more avodah in the leiv. And especially as we all know, we're going through these days with the coronavirus, everyone is pouring out their heart to Hashem. So this the Rebbe said 30 years ago. So how much more today is that avodah done? So if the avodah is done, we need the Beis HaMikdash to offer literal sacrifices, not anymore with our heart. And the Rebbe brings also from the famous commentary, the Ohr HaChaim HaKadosh in this parsha, which brings beautifully, he explains the whole idea of the Beis HaMikdash, the way it's referenced to the end of times before Mashiach is going to come. So he explains where the verse says that you'll bring the sacrifices kol halayla, the whole night, ad haboker, till the morning. And the Ohr HaChaim explains as follows, that Laila is referring to the time of Galus. The time of Galus, and when is Galus over? Ad haboker, in the morning. So when is the night over? So the Ohr HaChaim says as follows, that we know by Hashem every single day is like 1,000 years. So therefore, what is the night? It's referring to the 5,000 years, and the night is half of that, which is 5,500 years, which is 280 years ago. So the Rebbe said this 30 years ago, and the Rebbe said, okay, so we passed the time of the night, which is 5,500 years. We passed it, when the Rebbe said it 250 years later. How much more so now? We're 280 years later, so how much more so that we pass the time? And therefore, based on that, Mashiach already has to come and has to reveal himself. So, to answer the question, why is it important to Mashiach to reveal himself now? So number one is, Hashem said Tzav, he's commanding us to bring the sacrifices. In order for us to bring it, we need the Beis HaMikdash. You're going to say that we have to do our spiritual work. The Rebbe said our spiritual work is done. And third, as the Ohr HaChaim HaKadosh says, that we already passed the Laila, we passed already the Galus, we passed the 5,500 years, and how much more so that we're already 780, which is an extra 280 years after the time of the end of the Galus. So let's hope and pray that we all merit to see Mashiach as soon as possible, so we can finish this Galus and people can stop suffering and it can be true healing and peace for the world. Thanks so much for joining us for our weekly Torah lesson. This week's lesson is dedicated to the memory of Baruch ben Aryeh Leib, Shlomo ben Yosef, Rachel Baslipa, and all those that need healing. May they be healed very, very soon. Thanks so much for joining us for our weekly Torah lesson. For more information, please see our website, chabad.swf.org.